I think that allowing for the book being, after all, a parody, something like 1984 could actually happen. This is the direction the world is going in at the present time. In our world, there will be no emotions except fear, rage, triumph, and self-abasement. The sex instinct will be eradicated. We shall abolish the orgasm. There will be no loyalty except loyalty to the party. But always there will be the intoxication of power. Always, at every moment, there will be the thrill of victory, the sensation of trampling on an enemy who is helpless. If you want a picture of the future, imagine a boot stamping on a human face forever. The moral to be drawn from this dangerous nightmare situation is a simple one. Don't let it happen. It depends on you.
What's going on, everyone? It's Nina Infinity. Welcome back to my channel. And this is Breaking the Narrative. It's been a minute since we've done one of these shows, but I wanted to bring the next one in with a really awesome guest, like someone who I could interview and just, get to really know and talk about something, a narrative that has to be kind of just talked into and broken down. And I couldn't think of a better guest and a better show to do than L, aka Some Bitch I Know, to break down the Brigitte Macron saga that Candace Owens has exposed. Welcome, L, aka Some Bitch I Know. Hello.
Thank you. Welcome. I was going to say, I'm going to welcome you back to your own show. I'm stoked to be here. It's a wild story. The Becoming Brigitte, it's like 8 hours, 8 solid, very dense hours of content. So I've done the best I can to understand as much of it as I can, and we can just bash our way through the rest of it. But it is a lot to take in, and there's a lot of speculative aspects to it, and then there's a lot of actually known concrete things that are very, I don't even want to say salacious. I mean, it's really demonic if you're into that kind of talk. So
it's really weird shit. I mean,
really weird shit. That is true.
Demonic is definitely a word for it. Yes, I agree. Mm-hmm. You know what though? Before we get into this topic, I want to make a YouTube disclaimer, just a disclaimer in general, a legal disclaimer for the channel.
This is satire.
The topic we're going to talk about tonight, all of the things that is going to be said is basically mostly alleged things that are coming out. Some of it has been confirmed, but a lot of it is alleged. So it is a story that was originally exposed by a man named Xavier Poussard, who Candace Owens went and found and basically took the story from him and broke it and then made him famous. Basically, he's famous now because of her. So I just want to put this out there that YouTube, if you have a problem with the show we're doing, please take it up with Candace Owens, because we're just breaking down what she's been talking about. So that's all we're doing here. And with that said, I'm just going to quickly get this Rumble rant here, which we are live across all 3 platforms, YouTube, Rumble, and X. So hi, everybody over there. Make sure you smash the like wherever you're watching, share the stream, all the good stuff. We've got someone in the Rumble rant, Matt
Hammond. He's awesome.
Matt Hammond. Hello. Thank you for the 2, says Nina and Elle. 2 lovely ladies. Well, thank you very much for that kind Rumble rant before we start.
You know
I
who
might-
else is a lovely lady? Brigitte Macron.
Do we
I'm
really
sorry.
say that about her at this point? It's like I'm just like,
Well,
mm.
I'm sorry. I'm just trying to appease the YouTube overlords
No,
here.
I
She's
know.
beautiful.
She's
And very
We're not
dainty.
bullying her. We're not bullying her at all. Okay, I just want to
No.
put this out there. We're not bullying her. We're just really talking. But I will bully a little bit Emmanuel Macron. Actually, no, I won't, because he could be a victim of grooming.
Well,
he probably is.
no, I mean, that is the central thing that I take to be quite honest, I take the most issue with is the nature of the supposed, the story surrounding the start of their relationship. I first became aware of it back in 2023. I think it was just like during one of my shows, and like someone else brought it up, like their age difference, because we were looking at pictures of them, and people were like, Buzz, your girlfriend, ugh, that kind of thing. And then someone was like, well, isn't she 20 years older than him? And they've been dating since he was, and the start date of them dating is kind of nebulous. There are some reports that he was about to turn 18, and it was a little bit risque, but it's France, and they're very progressive, right? But then there's also other stories talking about how he was about to turn 15, which would mean he was 14. And she, I'm just going to say she for the time being, because this is the official narrative here, right? She at the time was anywhere between 39 and like up into the mid 40s.
Correct.
Again, it's one of those things where whenever I'm doing research, it can kind of be a tell. When you can't find definitive birthdays, death dates, the places someone has lived definitively, because those things are, like it or not, those things, I could find those things about any one of y'all probably pretty easily. So whenever there's a public figure that you can't find that, or especially on like their Wikipedia page, they have a lot of stuff written about them. And I know Wikipedia is not like it's not an official source, but it can tell you a lot of things by what's not there. If there's a public figure that has many, many paragraphs written about them, but they don't have things as simple as like a birthday or name of a mother and father, maybe the mom and dad don't have their own page if they're not noteworthy, but they usually will list those things. So if they're missing, it can be a tell. And for Brigitte, sorry, I'm gonna do this a lot tonight. I'm sorry, like do the wee hands.
Jean-Michel.
I'm sorry, I can't help it. But for Brigitte, so for those things to be so nebulous, and for things as simple as which class he took with her in school being directly conflicted in different interviews in 2017, like these things are odd. These things are very bizarre. Like if you have been together for 30 some odd years, you haven't gotten your story straight yet. That's weird.
There's so many things that are basically like exactly like what you're saying. Like when you go through, like when you start really going down the rabbit hole, you're like, like why is there certain things that are just so bizarre, like about your relationship, and the thing about the brother, and like all the different things. There's so many little things that just like when they accumulate, all in all, you're like, there's some fuckery going on. Now I don't know like how deep the fuckery goes, but there's definitely fuckery afoot.
But it's almost like it's a tactic, and Candace even kind of posited that in one of the episodes. We're essentially saying that she believes that the Macrons are giving conflicting information in interviews in order to place that seed of doubt. It can be a tactic, and there is so much bizarre information out there that it's like when you just get, it's too much information, you just kind of shut down. You're like, I kind of just don't care anymore. It's too much to take in.
Which true.
Again it's a very, this whole story, it's 8 hours of like pretty dense content of this series. Even that, as condensed as it is it's hard to get through. And
I think what I would suggest though to anyone's actually interested, but it's like, oh my God, 8 hours. I don't actually want to sit through 8 hours of this.
right.
I think what I would recommend for people to do is watch the or the 5th episode, which is her actual interview with Xavier Poussard.
Right.
I think that interview itself kind of speaks to the entirety of the story. And then if you want to go deeper from there, then you can kind of start from the beginning and see if you want to go there, because they kind of break down the story. And then Xavier explains from his point of view how he even started to go down this rabbit hole and why he went down the rabbit hole. And I think for people who are kind of like, not a fan of Candace, because there's a lot of people who don't like Candace Owens and are just kind of like,
I didn't care
Candace
for her
Owens.
too much until recently. She has grown on me in spite of myself quite a bit lately, to be honest.
Me too, a little bit. Like, I'm still weary.
I'm not like
her.
a super fan, right?
Right. I'm still weary of her because of like, I mean, we all have a past. Everybody does fucked up shit. Like, I'm not gonna hold it against her, because she is like, I feel like she is genuinely kind of like found Christ, and I think she's following the path that she thinks is the correct way,
Right.
whatever that may be. But she does have a really sketchy past as
the
well.
doxing and the for sure.
The doxing and all this stuff, and but I don't buy a lot of the media surrounding her. And let's just say, I think Candace herself is a bit of a shark. So I just wouldn't want to be on her bad side. Like, don't get on her bad side. I'm just kind of glad that
we love her.
Yeah, she's
great.
on the team of like she's on the team of righteous justice. Like, and when she gets her teeth on something, she's not gonna let it go. And that's why I'm kind of really happy that she's looking into this whole Blake Lively, Justin Baldoni situation, which we're not going to get into tonight, because that's
right.
That's a whole different story.
I hadn't been paying attention, not to deviate into that too much, but I hadn't really been paying attention to it up until recently. Like, I was aware of it. I feel like, how could you not be? But it was until that whole thing with Jenny Slate came out, where they're like reporting men for like doing nice things for them, trying to take them down. I'm like, this really is like going to, it's almost like the Gamergate of the Me Too. Like, it's just it's going to blow it up and implode it from the inside, which is important to pay attention to, because it implicates like some like superstars of women. So anyways, I've been paying attention to it lately.
I totally off topic, and I know we're like derailing completely, but did you see, for example, that Amazon had to turn off the comments tonight for A Simple Favor 2 that's supposed to drop like really soon? The trailer dropped for it.
They had to turn off the comments because of
Amazon had to turn off the comments. But
didn't she get hit by a car at the end of the last one? I thought she was dead.
Yeah, I mean, everybody thought no, because she survived, and then I guess she went to prison. But anyways, the funny part though is, on Instagram, the poster for the movie still has the comments on, and they're great people. So if you go read the comments, it's great. Just a side note, totally sidetrack. But
it's a little self-indulgent to like get into it too. So I've been, I enjoy it. So.
Well, we're gonna have to like talk more about that at another day. In fact, like, you should come on Toxic Femme, because we basically talk about that on Monday, like every Monday now.
I'm down.
But so, Elle, we need to talk about you also, because I want my audience to know kind of like who you are. Like, give a little background about yourself. Like, who are you? Where'd you come from? I do know you're an archiver, which is, I think, interesting, because that's kind of how Xavier Poussard started out. He was an archivist or archiver. I don't know.
That's what the Fates and Documents, where he worked previously. That's kind of what they do. And I feel like maybe the title I give, of being an archivist, maybe it might be a bit lofty and a bit inflated of an opinion of myself, but it's something that I focus on, particularly now, just because of how just realizing over the course of the last few years, being a lady on the internet, as it were, how rapidly digital paper trails can dry up if the kind of mechanisms in place to make them go away do exactly that. So I have designs and plans for a much broader I guess, operation essentially that would open it up to public access and to make it a more like collaborative, to make it more collaborative. But those are kind of pie in the sky dreams. But for now, it is essentially that. Without, there used to be so much care taken with the written word, to preserve speeches, to preserve books, and now people, and myself included, we've become a bit careless because we just assume, and people say it all the time, and I've said it before, I don't really say it anymore, but the internet is forever, but it's really not. And it's very easy to make it go away. Things like website caches. Google phased out this year the ability, they would essentially keep a snapshot of a previous, version of a page from within probably the last 2 or so weeks. And they phased that out this year. There is no more cache that's accessible to the public, which is a huge blow, because that was one of the main ways that I would find things would be if it's been recently deleted, there's still that, that kind of shadow of it that you can find and then archive that. And that's gone now. And that's a huge blow to just information gathering in general. Same thing with like recently deleted tweets and whatnot. It's scary how, and they just said, oh, it's just not, it was part of like an old, need for the internet that's not really there anymore. Everything's more stable now. But it's like, really the implications of this are that it's just easier to make things go away. So it's something that maybe I'm not an expert at it, but I think about it constantly, and I don't feel that there are enough people who take it seriously. Just because it's not, it's very easy to say, the internet is forever, and so far it has been kind of, and there have been those mechanisms in place to be able to pull caches and whatnot, but those are gone. That safety net is gone, and that's scary. So
it is, and like
sorry to go on a rant about it, but I feel strong.
No, it's fascinating. I actually didn't know that they got rid of the cache thing. I'm just learning that from you. That's fascinating.
It's gone.
That's
Completely
insane.
Gone. Yep.
It's so crazy to me because it's also with the advent of AI, I feel like the less you can trust, what you're seeing, like your eyes, you can't trust your eyes anymore. No. So it's like even what you're saying to your point about how the internet's forever, like you can't really trust screenshots anymore. You can't really trust like any of that kind of stuff.
No.
Even with this story, with the Emmanuel Macron story, you kind of, when you get into the pictures and how they took out some of the, like they took out the lamp, but they took out like the fingers of the girl is fucked up and like all this stuff. It's kind of, you're like, what the fuck is this? Like, is this a real picture? Like how real is it? Like who are these people? Hold on, let me pull up the picture so people know what we're talking about. But it's just, it is definitely wild. Like this is one of the pictures, and in this picture specifically, like
this is the lamp one, right?
This is without the lamp. There used to be a lamp here. And then, at some point they'll just cut off Jean-Michel Trogneux fully. This girl's fingers is all fucked. Like nobody knows what the hell is going on there. So there's a lot of, this is just,
it looks like she's just like got it, not to make like a claw hand, but to me, granted, I'm not
let me zoom in.
It looks like enhance.
Yeah, it's enhance. We need to look at the photo.
Pretend like we're on CSI right now.
I know. I feel like it might be like her fingers behind the chair.
He's got like one of them bent down, but it could.
But
why would you edit the lamp and not fix that? To be quite honest, like if you're trying to make like this, I don't know.
This is bizarre.
A lot of the stuff with the Trogneux family, I'm gonna be on. Like the whole like even just the like there's Jean-Michel and Jean-Claude. Everyone's name is Jean. It's very very complicated.
Jean.
So if I get anything wrong tonight, it's not intentional, but I could because everyone's named Jean.
Look, I will make fun of this because I don't know if you know, but I was born in Iran, so
I think I did know that.
I'm Persian, and in my culture. Especially because like of the religious takeover, like when Islam took over Iran, a lot of people that became religious started naming their kid Muhammad.
Right.
So you will have like in my family, there's a lot of Muhammads and there's a lot of Alis, and you have like Muhammad Ali Muhammad, and Ali Muhammad Ali, and Muhammad Muhammad Ali, and Ali Muhammad Ali. Like you will have
Are there like
many
nicknames that
No.
go along with that, or is it just everyone goes by the full name?
Everyone
it's
just
just-
goes by the full name,
It's
or
crazy.
basically like Muhammad Ali. Like they'll call them that, or like something similar. But in my culture, I always make fun of it because I've had people like that in my family. So when it
Right.
comes to this, when I see this, and I'm like, oh my god, this is like the white version. Because because these people they just like took the name Jean, and they're just like, we're just gonna put Jean in whatever and be like Jean-Claude, Jean
Right.
this, Jean that. Like, I mean, how many Jeans do we have here, right? Jean-Michel, Jean-Claude, Jean.
Right.
This guy had another name too. I don't know why this one doesn't have it. It was a Jean something. Truck. This is the dad.
Right.
And then and then apparently in this family, like according to Candace and the work she's been doing, the women marry men that are named Jean, and the men marry women that are named like the same thing as their sibling, which is kind of really fucking weird. Like Jean-Claude married someone named Brigitte, which is supposedly supposed to be his sister, and then Brigitte married someone named Jean. It's wild, man. Like these are the things that you go down this rabbit hole, and you're like,
it's
where the
very
fuck am I?
complicated. And I had to go back and listen to, I think it was episode 4 or 5. Like I had to go back and listen to it a couple of times because at first I just didn't understand that the two of them were different people. And I was like, wait, what is she saying? And so it is complicated, and it's not her fault.
Real quick, I want to give a massive shout out to my friend Jane Theory here. What's up, Jane? Good to see you. She says it's common for people to have the same names in Louisiana too because of the French influence. There's definitely like I think that part of it, which is really funny. I don't know how deep it goes into like the conspiracy realm, but when I like reflected on my own family, I was like, well, I mean, if you really start looking into like family names, it becomes kind of weird where everyone's named the same fucking thing.
I mean, we've got a lot of family. I mean, and we are just Southern for many generations. But my brother is a third. But like my granddad, my dad, and my brother all have like they all go by different parts of that name. So I don't really think about them all having literally the same name except for one senior, junior, the third. But I guess that's maybe not a custom in like predominantly Muslim like naming schemes. I don't know. So that's interesting.
But at least you guys are like doing like the second, third, like there's a distinguishing factor.
The number. You gotta count
the number. Whereas in these people, it's just weird because they're just going like, okay, we're just gonna name everybody Jean. And apparently this guy, like the father, wasn't even named Jean at the beginning. His name was like Mark something. I forget the name.
I forget too, but I do have a lot of notes in front, but I'd have to find it.
If you want to pull it up, you can. By the way, your website's amazing that you sent me. But I want you to navigate it because I was like, holy shit, there's a lot of
to be quite honest, it's just like a list of things. Like up at the top, most recently, I found a kind of summary on Substack that's linked up at the top. It's just like a condensed version that and it's not like an AI generated one. It's like a person actually wrote it. Because I found by trying to find like a quick summary, because I suck at elevator pitches. So I was trying to find other people. Just refresh it.
Ooh.
It is it has been updated.
Ooh.
So that condensed part up top, that's some of the text I pulled out. But she kind of summarizes the core claim, and then you'll see on the right side, like I kind of break it down by year. I kind of ran out of time, but I just tried to collect some stuff that I found interesting / that were conflicting or just worth highlighting. Just easy, just I make the site for myself, and if anybody else enjoys it, then that's cool. But I make it for myself, and it's like $10 a month to publish through Obsidian, so it's easy.
That's awesome. You need to do one. I know I'm going there again. It's because I'm obsessed with this case right now. But you need to do one for the Blake Lively Justin Beltoni thing because
Well,
that thing is wild.
I'm about to. Unfortunately, I've also been kind of ignoring because I figured at some point we'll either know something or we won't. I've been ignoring the whole like P Diddy thing because I'm like, I don't give a
Oh
shit. I
shit.
don't give a shit. But now,
Mm.
now the lawyer who like defended 9/11 like terrorists dropped out because of like
He's like,
necrophilia claims or something. It's crazy. So I'm like, what? I gotta know now. So
yeah, I know he dropped out, and that rarely
he
ever
has defended
happens.
some of the worst people on the planet without batting an eye. So anyways, yeah, there's a lot of like kind of gossipy things that are like, I guess we're gonna have to like learn about it now, which
I
is
know. I'm kind of
fine.
surprised that there's no Jean-Luc Picard. I'm gonna be very I'm gonna be very
I think
honest.
of like Jean Valjean from
Jean Valjean,
right,
Les Miserables. Oh my god,
right.
that would be amazing. That would have been funny. Now here's the thing. I will also tell you this. When this story broke, I gotta say I wasn't really surprised. And the reason for that is because years and years ago, my husband told me, Macron is gay, right? And I was like, that's not like what? Like it's like a really weird thing that came out of nowhere. And I was like, what are you talking about? He's married to this woman, Brigitte. I mean, they're really
Right.
happy together, blah,
Right.
blah, blah. And he was like, no, dude, he's gay. And I was like, what are you talking about? And so he shows me these pictures, and I was like, excuse me? And so, and I showed these to Anna, that Star Wars girl, a while ago. In 2020, I showed her this. This is from 2018. Okay, so this is when Macron went to the Caribbean,
I don't know if I've
and
seen this.
these images, like he became kind of like under fire for these images because he was having a lot of fun with these dudes. And a lot of hugs were being given. I mean, it was they were all shirtless, very friendly. Uh, there's another picture of it. I don't know if they have it here. No, that they don't have that one. But there's one where they're like really embracing, and he's just ecstatic and just so happy about it. So, and I was like, oh my god, like
It reminds
he's
me.
very gay.
It reminds me of the pictures. I can't remember his name now, but someone in the chat I know will know. There was like that like Democrat mega donor out in California who also had like a thing for like young black men, and they like found one of the guys was found like dead in his home, and I think he's in prison now for it. It like this reminds me of that. Like
Oh my
there's
god.
Ed Buck. That's the
Oh.
guy. Ed Buck. And like, oh, that kind of reminds me of the Ed Buck thing where that's, and the same thing with like his Macron's favorite author went to I forget what country, but went, and he was a pederast. He was the one whose his book was in his official presidential portrait, who went and like found like young like Muslim boys who were like 12, 13, 14, and documented heavily that he like was raping these young boys.
Oh my
And
god.
this is a book that is in Macron's official like presidential portrait from 2017. And
That's so fucked up.
he also refers to what's the name of his the guy? Hang on. Presidential portrait. His name is Andre Gide. And I actually found a couple of other speeches that he's given where he refers to his appreciation and admiration of Andre Gide. Like there's a thing with these like not like I'm telling you anything that you don't already know. There's a thing with politicians like preying on like black men and like brown guys, and like it's just they have no regard for their life or their like it's very sad.
It's all very fucked
like
up.
that's like, to put it mildly, but there is a pattern. This reminds me of Ed Buck. That's TLDR.
That's an interesting. I'd never even heard of that until now.
It's disgusting. And they like it's like there was another guy who overdosed at his home at like a party, and this guy Ed Buck too. He looks like he's very old. Like he's really gross looking, and so like it's like these young men, they get them addicted to drugs, and then they take advantage of them within their home. And this guy was like had millions and millions and millions of dollars, like not just like a single millionaire, which isn't hardly shit anymore, but like it was like a very, very wealthy Democrat mega donor, and he just kind of got like erased. I kind of forgot about him until just now seeing these photos. Sorry, that's why.
Wow. I'm just pulling up his picture because I had no idea about any of this. I'm just looking up. That's crazy. This is the Democratic donor, right? I'm just pulling this up right now. But this is the photo, by the way, that I was telling you about.
Yeah, what was the circumstance?
Look how happy he is. He's so happy.
And that guy's so sweaty.
I think this is.
Why are you so sweaty? Were you watching Cops?
This was It says photos of President Macron posing between a half-naked man shows his middle finger, and a convicted criminal during Caribbean visit sparks fury back home in France. I don't know why these people are like that, but anyways, it was weird.
It's an interesting place. It looks like he's at like a college house party too. I mean, like looking at like you can't see a whole lot, but like looking at the setting behind him, it just looks like a random house.
It says one showed him his middle finger. Macron told him to leave his past behind and help rebuild his home in the island. President was visiting 1 year after hurricane devastated the West Indies. He's been fiercely criticized for the posed up photo on social media. So that was basically it. I'll send you this article just so you can look at it. I'll post it in the private chat so you can read it over later.
Yeah, that in my I was going down a rabbit hole about like a Masonic rug, all right? Like I pull that up too. Get down some like weird avenues with this.
This is the dude that you were talking about, right?
Yes. But like these are similarities though between these like, liberal sexually libertarian is how they describe themselves, men, and there are like these underlying themes that are disturbing, to put it very mildly. Someone just said it was baby oil. How dare you?
Oh my God. Now he's glistening. Jesus Christ, Ian.
He's a shiny boy.
Here's the thing. Somebody said, I think it was FKC, it said and demonetized. Here's the thing, guys. I don't know how you thought that this was going to remain a monetized stream whatsoever. No. There's no way that this was going to remain a monetized stream. We're talking about.
Do you get like notification that it's been demonetized during?
No. But people always say that because like whenever you talk about or like say the word rape, apparently like you get demonetized ASAP or something like that. But I just want to let you guys know, the audience, there is no way in hell that we were going to be monetized for this show. So this is basically just being you guys are supporting the show. So you make sure you smash the like, share the stream, all the stuff, because this will be shadow banned. This is not going to be like, oh, I'm going to be making some money off the rent or the ad revenue for this shit. No, this is not going to be monetized because we were going to be talking about at the very, very best, this Macron story, which is really fucked up and dark.
There's all sorts of very things to talk about.
Yeah, at the very best, this is going to be a grooming story about a woman who groomed and molested a boy that was 14 years old. This is the very best case scenario.
And how he has perpetuated it in his adult life. And that's something that happens a lot, unfortunately, is that even like you can't choose your circumstances of abuse as a child, but you can choose whether or not you kind of bring that into adulthood and make it everyone else's problem. And it seems like anyways. Someone sorry, I made a note last night, because I was telling everyone I was gonna be on the show today, and someone said, ask Nina who is the melted snowman. Does that make sense to you? Okay.
No idea.
All right.
No idea.
I asked, so
there you go. And I said I don't know.
Okay, cool.
I do know what they're talking about, but no, I don't know the identity of the melted snowman. I still don't know, since like it's been 2 years. I can't believe people are still asking about it. But no,
I'm sorry if that was like something uncomfortable to ask.
Oh no, it's all good.
I'm gonna
not a care. I absolutely not a care. It's all good.
I thought it was like an inside joke.
It somewhat is. It's like a weird internet drama thing. But no, I don't know the identity. I still don't know the identity.
Come on, we're talking about Emmanuel Macron's lady man wife. All right,
I know.
That's
enough. I mean, this is some bizarre shit. So
it is.
Like what I said though, at the very best, this is a story about, which is it's so weird to say this, but at the very best, it's about grooming and somewhat possibly about a Manchurian candidate, a child
Mhm.
who was groomed to become one of the most powerful men in the world. He is the president of France. And one of the things that I get asked constantly, and I find it really bizarre actually, because a lot of people are like, "Why is Candace Owens so obsessed with this story?" Or like, "Why does
It's
anyone care
important.
about the story?" And I feel like it's extremely important to talk about how one of the most powerful people in the world was A, groomed and put in this position of power, and B, is now being basically blackmailed to do certain things because of the amount of shit that has been hidden about his past.
Right.
So that is just, I mean,
And
it's
it's an
own.
indictment of the media, and you know that if like, and there are aspects of this that are like 100% known to be true, then you know that intelligence within other countries know more, and like it's an interesting thing, and it's not even, I mean, obviously the central story is very important, but it's also the surrounding, media, the people who are in his,
Mhm.
like, that Mimi woman who was like the fixer, who's like
Yeah.
scary.
And then she got like all well, she got
Like
basically
ousted, right?
betrayed by them
Mhm.
because she was also propping up another
Another pedophile.
pedophile that was
Mhm,
caught red-handed, and then they were
mhm.
like, "Oh shit, we can't be around you anymore."
That is a
So
pattern, believe it or not, y'all, if you
seems
don't
to
know.
be. Yeah, it seems to be a pattern with this Brigitte Macron. Like this entire family is somehow, some way or another, associated with pedophiles.
And
Like,
the
which
fact that,
is
like, his mother, like, it turned out that, I forget her name, but Emmanuel Macron's mother was actually involved within, I guess, the French version of Social Security, of acquiring new identities for transgender
individuals.
individuals in
Hmm.
France, and has been for, like, decades. France is a degenerate country. I'm just gonna say it. They're a
Oh,
bunch of degenerate human beings, and it was
I mean, they
obvious
always
during the
have
Olympics.
been. They always have been
Ugh.
because of, I mean, like, even way back in the day, where did ménage à trois come from? Like, the French kiss. I mean, the very basic things that we talk
The
about, like,
Moulin
even
Rouge.
right,
I
way
don't know.
before, I mean, any of these things, right? It's the French that's always, like, very sexually explicit. I mean, have you ever watched a French film? My God, these people are
No,
crazy.
thank God. No,
Don't.
but I've always kind of and my version of, like, Paris was, like, Mary-Kate and Ashley's, like, but the
Oh my
Go to
God.
Paris movie, like, it was very romanticized and very, like,
Right.
Disney-fied growing
Yeah.
up. So, like, and I really didn't become, like, sentient or, like, aware of the world around me until I was nearly 30. So having to relearn and unlearn, not to use a leftist term, but truly having to unlearn a lot of things that I was taught or that I just kind of accepted as true. Things
Mhm.
like, Paris not being a disgusting degenerate, city within a disgusting degenerate country. Like
Mhm.
that, it's a brutal awakening in a lot of
It's a
ways. So
wild ride. I mean, I can also say that, like, that it's funny to your point. I actually watched Emily in Paris. Like that. I don't know if you've heard of that show, but it's a Netflix
I've heard
show.
of some of it, but I haven't watched it. But
Look,
my mom loves
I'm a
it.
sucker. I'm a sucker for any sort of weird female, like, pretty drama like that. I'm just a
Right.
sucker for it. Okay. And so I started watching the show, and it's also by the same guy that did Melrose Place, and I love Melrose Place and
Oh
like
my god.
90210 and shit. So I'm like, oh,
Girl, the drama?
I'm so fucking there. So I watched the show, and it's all obviously about Emily in Paris. It's a very romanticized Paris. It's
Right.
like not at all what Paris is actually like. I've been there. It's dirty as fuck. And it's like this very, like, just all the good things, all the movie things. And the latest season featured, guess who?
Macron?
Brigitte Macron.
No way.
Yeah, she was on it. And I was like, oh my God, it's Brigitte Macron. Like, I can't believe she was actually on the show, but it
That
was
was a thing that was happening for a while too. It was kind of in the era of when, like, 30 Rock and Parks and Recreation were the big the heavy hitters for NBC. There were a lot of those cameos from, like, Biden was in Parks and Rec because
Yes.
what's her face
Mhm.
was like obsessed with him. I
She
think
was, like,
Michelle
in love with him.
Obama was on 30 Rock, and like that kind of.
John McCain was on Parks and Rec too.
Well, yeah, because John McCain is approved, or was rather, since he's deceased. But he's part of the. It's wild not to deviate over into American politics, but just how lionized, like the Bushes have become in their posthumously for HW, and then for it's wild.
It's
Or
crazy.
I'm sorry, pardon, but Liz Cheney, like, voting as brat Liz Cheney, like, what? That's so embarrassing. What are you doing?
Liz Cheney is voting for Kamala Harris. Like, that was funny.
But, like, I'm
It
so
was
glad
funny.
they did that, though, because, like, it turned out, like, so many people were like, what is this? Like,
Yeah, like the neocons are like, "What's up, guys? We're rebranded as Kamala
Liz
Harris's
Cheney
people."
Please, that's gonna go so.
Oh my god!
That's so
Real quick, let
embarrassing.
me get this really massive super chat from Ian, my good friend. Thank you so much, Ian, so forth, for 50 pounds. He is the neighbor of
In
France.
it.
It's so
Sorry.
crazy. You're in it. You're neighbors with really gross people, Ian. God, that's so gross. What's going on over there in France? I feel bad for you just because you're such a close country to those freaking degens. But thank you, Ian. Says I'll support the stream because gaslighting was dangerously close to
glistening. The glistening,
glistening, gaslighting, glistening
There's been a lot
was
of gaslighting
dangerously
going on
close
too.
to moist. That's like when what's it called? Justin Trudeau was like speaking moistly. Do you remember that whole speaking moistly thing? Because he was like, okay, so during COVID, he gave this whole speech about how you have to stand 6 meters apart. He's like, because you will speak moistly. And then some guy made a remix of it, of him going like, speaking moistly.
Oh, I got to write that down. I'm going to make everyone listen to that. Wait, speaking? Hang on. I'm sorry. I'm just going to write that one down for later.
It's okay. Please do, because it's one of the best things I have ever seen. I used to watch that every day. Keep 2 meters apart, speaking moistly. It was good times. But thank you, Ian, for supporting the stream.
Yeah,
because
Ian.
Glistening is dangerously close to moist. Please, guys, like this stream if you like glistening and moistness. Thank you very much.
Yes,
appreciate
based
it.
and moist pilled.
Junior for 2 says, "Where Lil Cat? Where's Lil Cat?
She's in a little cat ball on the floor right now, but she might come say hi in a second. She's around. She's always around.
I love kitties. Kitties are
she's
the
a good
best.
She's a good little key.
We also have a Rumble rant. Thank you again, Matt Hammond. For 2 says, those whose wife is a man, Macron or Obama? There are rumors Obama enjoys the touch of a man. Did Obama and Macron enjoy each other beyond their bromance? I can't answer any of this.
Well, I mean, there's some interesting stuff with Michelle Obama's family tree, and I've gone down that rabbit hole a bit, and it gets weird for sure. But I haven't gone that deep down that rabbit hole because I've been in this one and in the Blake Lively one. But I mean, obviously, we've all heard the rumors about her being a man. Yeah, Macron kind of shared that same sort of kind of came up very rapidly to prominence. They were the rising star, the young new face and this was Macron came to power right as I think it was Le Pen, but it could have been someone else. Right as the right was having a really meteoric rise in France, and it's of course now Macron's been in power for 7 years. They all hate him. I've been on like French Twitter for the past 3 days, kind of prepping for the show, and like man, the French they are sassy. Oh my gosh, they're so fun. So, how are they feeling about this story? Well, I mean, granted, because algorithmically, I don't know if I'm being kind of shown a small portion of the broader scheme. I mean, obviously, there's going to be people who are going to shun all of this simply because it it doesn't suit their worldview. Oh, hey, little cat. She just walked by. Maybe she'll come up here in a second. She's having a little snack. It doesn't suit their worldview. It's kind of like the same thing with like American politics when people go like, this is a lazy narrative. Like, why is it so lazy? And it's like, because they don't have to put in effort, because the people who are going to gobble it up are going to do it and not ask any questions anyways. They don't have to get super, you know, they don't have to get super elaborate or well planned with their psyops anymore, because people are like, nope, yeah, that sounds good. I'll go with that. And I assume there's similar populations within France. But
it's difficult though, because I mean, like for example, with the to the point of the last Rumble rant, I can't really pinpoint like what exactly is going on with the Obamas. I can tell there's some fuckery going on, but I feel like it's less of a fuckery than the Macron story, simply because at least there's somewhat of a trail about where these people went to school, and at least like there's no grooming going on. Like they met in college, like you know, it's like they were all, you know, adults. So it's less fuckery and more. I mean, I feel he was like
barely pubescent, really, because boys go through puberty like later. It's usually like 15 or 16, right? It's been a while. You know, I'm 30. I'll be 35 in next month, so it's been a minute. But I feel like girls are like 13, 14, and boys are like 15, 16. So he was like a prepubescent boy, and he was 40. That's insane.
That really drives me crazy, because like I just turned 40 like in January,
and you really think about like the real implications of that being like a 40-year-old woman, and you're like, this is horrific.
Like I just think to myself, like, no, like, ew. Like I just think to myself, like I went, because my husband was,
I feel that way about like someone in their mid-20s now. You know, I don't have anything in common with a 25-year-old. Why would I try to date them? You know,
it's really weird, because like also like all my friends are teachers and stuff like that. So I go to high school sometimes, because they'll invite me to like, you know, whatever, like they have an event or whatever. They'll be like, oh, come to the event, and I go, and I'm like just thinking about like, oh my god, a 14-year-old kid, that's like a grade 9 kid. Like, ew, like that is so weird to be like, oh, I'm so attracted to this grade 9er. Like, it's like
she talks and in all of the kind of like the interviews that they've given to kind of paint this romantic life, you know, she saw him. There's two different narratives, and there's two different interviews in 2017 specifically that I can point to. One where they say that he didn't take the French class, but his siblings did. Another where he did, and that was why he wanted to become a writer for a period of time. But then there's another narrative where she was his drama teacher, and that she saw him act, and they were preparing for a play, and that's when she truly saw him. She referred, like, says, oh, he was just like, it was like watching Mozart. Which, what does that even mean?
That's actually, I'm trying to pull that up right now, because that's what Candace claims in her series, is that's when they met, was like when she saw him in this play, and she like was so infatuated that basically a year later she left her entire other family and divorced her husband, supposed other family,
supposed husband that supposedly exists, that may or may not. It's so
but she left these people to go and like marry or like hang out with this 14-year-old and bang this 14-year-old, which is so fucking weird. And then like I guess at that point he was 15, but I mean, it's just so.
If you
so
go
weird.
to the notes page, if you go down to the 2017 part, there is a Telegraph, the Macron affair. It's like right under where it says 2017, right towards the top. It talks about their like drama classes a bit. This was my first foray into it. I think in hindsight, I think it was like right after Trudeau announced he was getting a divorce. I think that's when I first learned about this back in 2023, because people were like, oh yeah, he and Macron are going to run away together.
Oh God. Yeah. I remember that. That was all over the place.
So the first like two paragraphs there, it was at secondary school through drama that I met Brigitte. It was surreptitiously that things happened, that I fell in love through an intellectual bond, a 40-year-old woman and a 15-year-old, an intellectual bond they shared.
How do you share an intellectual bond with like a fucking 14-year-old?
I'm sorry. Yeah. You know, then emerged a lasting passion. she said all the teachers were buzzing about Emmanuel. Her own daughter, Lawrence, a classmate of Macron's, also spoke of him as, quote, that amazing guy who knows everything about everything. I'm sorry, a 15-year-old boy. I'm sorry. Like, unless you're like, no. He was not in the French class Brigitte taught. This I have it highlighted because it conflicts a different like narrative told that year as well. He was not in the French class that it taught, although she did teach his brother Laurent and his sister Estelle, but only her drama classes where she found herself in awe of his exceptional intelligence, a way of thinking that I had never seen before.
What? I'm trying to pull up that thing where Emmanuel Macron, like Candace shows him singing, and I was like,
oh, hang on. I think it's in the first episode, like not the preview, but in the first episode. And it is
I think so.
Let's see if we can find it really quick.
Yeah, please. Oh my God, we need to pull that up because that was so like, I'm just like watching this kid, like just imagining this woman being in the crowd and being like, oh yeah, this kid, this is doing it for me. Like, ew, like these people are so gross.
They're so sick. All right.
This is what I'm saying. At the very best, this story is so fucked up because it's about this woman basically being a pedophile. Like you're basically
there is no mincing words about it. It's not even like, again, they lied numerous times about him being like nearly 18. Like, I'm sorry, even again, being 40 or so, being 35. Like I could not, even that is disgusting. Like there's no excusing that, but they tried to make that seem like, oh, it's like a sexy, like Candace kept referring to like Claudia Schiffer kind of thing,
Yeah. You know what's so crazy about it? I think it's one of the like the kind of the double-edged thing that's kind of like it's because he's a man. Because I swear to God, like because and by that I mean Emmanuel Macron, he's a man. So when he gets groomed as a child, it's like people don't give a fuck because it's like, oh, she was a female. But if Emmanuel was a girl, this would be a fucking story. Like this would be a massive story that would be like, what the fuck? Like, why is this 40-year-old dude raping this 14-year-old girl? Like, it would be a fucking thing.
Do you know the band Trapped that sang the song Headstrong?
No.
Back on, I'll take you on. You don't know. That was like, oh man, that was such a classic like song back in the like early 2000s. The lead singer of Trapped and I got into it big time. His name is Chris Brown, but not that Chris Brown, because he, again, that kind of stuff gets glossed over all the time. He's talking about how like a 14-year-old boy getting raped by his like adult female teacher is like a high five slap on the back thing. And I went after him so hard. He ended up leaving Gab.
Ooh.
So,
wow.
No, I like it's something that I hate that so much that it is glossed over, that it is considered like, oh, it's just like he's good for him, it's like, no, that is going to have such lasting implications on this young boy's, and future man's psyche.
It's really disgusting. It's really disgusting when it's like, oh, like it's such a double standard when it's like, oh, he's gonna have like spank bank for the rest of his life because this old lady is like,
because he was molested.
Yeah. Like, what the fuck? He's being molested. All these kids are being molested, and it's just gross. It's uncalled for. I don't. And this is where when you say it's demonic, it really is.
No, it
demonic.
is.
Like this is the demonic shit that really comes out of it. Now, it can get even more demonic because when the deeper you go into the story, the more you realize that other stuff might be involved, like incest. And that's when you're just kind of like, wait, what?
All right. I got the link with the timestamp in the private chat. Sorry, it took me a second, but I got it.
No, yay.
It's
okay.
him singing.
Let's watch this singing. And
this is the young boy that was just, she'd never seen anything like it.
Guys, allegedly, this is when she fell in love with him. She was like, I need this in my life. Here we go.
It's like right before it. There you go.
Let this run.
C'est bon de renaître. Et longtemps, ma sœur aveugle et muette, la nuit. Qu'est-ce qui fait une pousse peur aux hommes. L'aboiement d'un chien.
Is he a scarecrow?
Yeah, I think so.
I was like, what's happening here?
I don't know. He looks like a
Wonderful, wonderful, irresistible.
I gotta love Candace, man. She's funny, man. Her facial reactions.
She's much better outside of Daily Wire, which actually, interestingly enough, so this whole thing with this has been really about a year and a half in the making, right? Way back, like right when she first got fired from Daily Wire, it was like right after she had posted her first thing about this, and it was also when she was going after Rabbi Shmuley, that disgusting man.
That fucked up guy. That guy's fucked.
So like that, this was kind of that first foray into it, and so then you had people like what's her face, Barry Weiss. This is when I first realized, like, I first came across Barry Weiss during the Twitter files.
The Twitter files thing. She was huge.
And I admired her very much. I started following her. And then right after, like, so she made this, actually, it's on the page, like, she, like, tweeted about Candace and was, like, celebrating her cancellation back in, like, March of 2024.
Ooh, gross.
And says, this piece doesn't even touch on her truly batshit views about Brigitte Macron. Talk about tweets that didn't age well.
Oh, shit. That's crazy.
Yeah. So, that's kind of, like, part of my own thing. Because I used to really admire Barry, because I didn't really know her background. I didn't know that was like how she got her start, was like being a piece of shit for the New York Times. And so of course, lo and behold, had to learn that later. But yeah, that one didn't age well.
Yeah, it kind of does seem like that to me. Like,
no, she is. Oh, yeah. She's a crazy Zionist. And it's to a level that is not reached by like other Zionists, you know what I mean? She's very serious about it. So
I didn't know that about her. I mean, like, honestly, that my familiarity with Barry came from the Twitter files.
Right? Same.
And then after that, I was just like, okay, like, like I didn't really care. And then her name came up again when Candace was kind of going at her a couple weeks ago, and I was like,
well, this is why,
because of the now you're putting in the pieces of the puzzle, because I was like, I had no idea why her beef was with Barry Weiss, and now I do. Again, like Candace,
she celebrated Daily Wire like canceling her, even though she had previously written pieces about how, like, she, when it serves her, she's very anti-cancel culture, but when, to be based and to appeal to the like right wingers, but when it came to someone who dare besmirch Rabbi Shmuley, like that's the hill you're gonna die on, Rabbi Shmuley, holy shit,
dude, Rabbi Shmuley, like. I was watching like a Piers Morgan interview with him and some other people like were on the panel, not even Candace, because I saw the Candace one and that was just fucking hilarious. But there was once where he was on Piers Morgan with like a bunch of other people. And then like afterwards, I like read on the comments. Oh, they were like, I think they were talking about Kanye West, because you know how Kanye West came back and they were like all like he went crazy on Twitter just this last time, like when he came and he was just like going crazy, like totally anti-Semitic. And Rabbi Shmuley was just like going off about him being anti-Semitic or whatever. And Zuby was on there and he was calling Zuby and like the other guy anti-Semitic. And then Zuby's just like, what the fuck? But anyways, at the end of the thing, I was reading some like comments and like somebody had written, Rabbi Shmuley does more for anti-Semitism than Kanye and anybody else out there, because this guy is such a fucking moron that I'm like, dude, like you're just not doing your crew any favors. Like, just shut up, bro. But
he does it on purpose though, because he says outrageous things and then people call him out for saying outrageous things, as they should, and then he's like, oh, that's anti-Semitic, and people are like, no, you're just a crazy man and we're allowed to say that. Like, I'm sorry, I'm an American, I can actually say exactly what I want to all the time. That is my right as an American. There are very few things that you cannot say as an American with American rights. So if that offends you, if it's anti-Semitic, so be it.
That's right. The Fresh and Fit guy was on there too, not Myron or whatever.
Guy, but yeah.
I mean, he's totally gay too. Like this, the Myron guy. That guy is like one of those like in closet gays. He totally hates women and definitely has done some gay shit, but like obviously won't admit to it, which is kind of weird. It's like in this day and age, just come out, bro. Like everyone knows you're gay.
But like what's his face? The guy who the cuck. Remember him? That like Sydney Watson called him. What's his
Yeah,
name?
yeah,
Jack Murphy.
Jack Murphy.
The liminal order of how to be a man, but
Yeah.
I've also taken a dildo up the ass on camera.
Yeah,
for
that
money.
Jack Murphy guy. Oh God,
Oh,
that guy
God.
was fucking ugh. But anyways, back to
Never
this
meet your
death story.
heroes, right? So we'll see. It
Right.
turns out, like, here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen. You know, I might be a lot of things, but nothing like that is ever going to come out about me because it doesn't exist. And I think that's it turns out there's so many people where there's just like, who knows what's out there.
I
Good
know. I
Lord.
feel the same way. I'm like, man, I'm so milquetoast. Like, I don't think anything like that.
I have put all my
not
I've
I
aired
don't
all my
think.
dirty
I
laundry
know.
out.
Yeah, I know nothing like that is ever going to come out about me,
Doesn't
but
exist
it's just
for me.
hilarious.
Right.
But you know what, though? Now I'm scared that, like, people are going to make up shit like AI. They're going to be like, look, this is what she said. And I'm going to be like, the fuck? That's not me. But AI.
If someone made up some like fake shit, I just wouldn't engage with it, to be quite honest.
That's true. I mean, that's a good thing.
Once you give it any oxygen, you feed that flame. So I wouldn't
know.
do it.
I usually hate giving Russell attention, which
like
is here, but
right.
he does
someone
that.
Like a year and a half ago generated with AI like nude images of myself, and they were like, I knew 100% that they weren't me, but they emailed them to me and like tried to like get money from me, which I don't have. Like, I don't have blackmail money, but I was just like, okay, post them.
Dude, somebody did that to Anna. Somebody did that to my friend Anna too. Like, they just made AI fucking porn of her and shit, and they were like, "Oh, look, it's Anna, that Star Wars girl. She's like doing fucking porn," and I was on her. I was like, "What the fuck? This is so weird."
I'm like, I got a mole on my ass. All right, I can prove this in a second.
JR says for 2, Rabbi Shmuley's a chaos agent. I think that's a really good way to put it. I agree.
Remember when he like put on that like prosthetic nose and all that?
Yes.
Like, what do you expect is gonna happen?
Dude,
sir?
He's insane. He's actually insane. Russell Hall, aka We Was Magas, thank you for 5. Says, correction from last week. The woman I looked up was Ashley Sinclair. So Ashley St. Clair does not, as far as I know, have a giant fluffy pussy lips. Okay, thank you for clarifying that.
We needed these are the things we needed to know.
Yeah, I mean, thank you for the correction. I mean, this is part of the show. You have to.
Your name is absurd.
This is Russell Hall. You don't know Russell? We'll meet Russell.
I don't know if I do or not, but oh my God. I loved it. People on the internet are so funny.
They're just the best.
Oh
What's up, Adam Krigler, who's in the chat watching the show? He's saying, admit it, you both have OnlyFans.
I do technically have an OnlyFans page, but I've never posted on it. I didn't, to be quite honest, I didn't know what it was. It was like a place where people could go, right? And I read like the public facing thing, but I made one. It's still there's OnlyFans some bitch I know or whatever. It exists.
That's hilarious. I do not have an
OnlyFans,
not even for the lulz.
I wanted to hold my username after my first Twitter ban, and then I understood what it was, but it still exists out there. So I do technically have an OnlyFans.
Damn it, Krigler. Damn it. Damn you.
Nobody's gonna hold that shit over my head. I made it. I didn't know.
Well, I don't have
pictures of little cat on it.
Oh my God. And then Russell Hall again for 5 says, didn't I once hear you say that you use goon to Japanese tentacle cartoons? What sort of milquetoast is that?
Nina.
What are you talking about?
I wouldn't admit that for all the money in the world.
Oh, yeah. You know what? That's true. I did like hentai, like when I was like 15. But that's like a long time ago. It's a long time.
One episode of Sailor Moon.
But you don't see me doing it online. I'm not like going and doing it online though. Like this is just
like those people that wear those like shirts of like the anime porn ladies. I forget. It has like a word for it. And they like wear them. No, there's like a shirt, and it's got like it's like the porn face of like anime
like the
ladies.
waifu. The waifu.
Yeah, but it's
people.
like gross.
Oh,
and people just like wear it unabashedly in public. This is the best Macron deep dive that's ever occurred. By the way.
I know. We're like talking about Thank you, Russell Hall and Adam Krigler for totally derailing the show.
Ooh,
so back to Macron, because I mean, I did say. So I did say that like there, best case scenario was there was grooming
And
involved.
that's known. And then Brigitte Macron is like a pervert who tried to, when they after Notre Dame, the fire at Notre Dame Cathedral, the one that like Michelle Obama is like, there's that infamous picture of her just like watching it with that like face. Like Brigitte Macron wanted to replace like one of the like main like architectural pieces with like a giant golden penis.
Mm-hmm. That's crazy. I didn't know that.
In the cathedral.
What the fuck?
And then was
These
just
people are so messed up.
They're like, and so then like a committee, this is all, allegedly or whatever, a committee was like, no, we're going to replace, like, we're going to restore it back to like its original version. But she was trying to put all of this like subversive, like pedophile shit in there. They had like a pedo rug in the main office. She picked it out.
Is that what you were looking into before? Okay, let me pull that up.
I went down like the Macron rug rabbit hole on Twitter because there's this like French dude just like talking shit about him, and it has like 2 views. I'm like, this is amazing. It's great.
That's great.
This guy, Joel Ville, I'm like, this is the best shit I've ever seen. Like,
okay, wait, what is he saying? So at the Élysée Palace, there is a carpet whose central motif is that of the labyrinth of Chartain's Cathedral, a labyrinth that is also found in the what is this?
This is like a Masonic thing. This is a Masonic thing, the one with the moons and all. But if you go above in the notes, that's 100% like the moons and the like 12 moons or this. There's some stuff going on there. But before that too, they're talking about this man named Claude Levesque, who is like a world-renowned artist who Brigitte Macron, when they were picking out like a new, I forget the name of like the palace, the Elysee. They went to go pick out this rug, and they picked out one from a man named Claude Levesque, and this is someone that Brigitte has said she admires a lot. He's like received many awards. It's in their middle of their like main office, and then he gets accused in 2021 of child rape.
Oh God.
And then in 2023 he's like prosecuted for it, and there's like all of these articles in French that I was translating about like, well, so if there's a rug by a pedophile in the that's owned by the state, should they remove it from the office? And I'm like, France is a degenerate, disgusting country, honestly. The things that they make excuses for, they're like, yes, but it's art. I'm like, I do think at a certain point, like, nice. So that's just an example of, those are other rugs that are in the palace themselves. Like, there's a whole collection of crazy
weird looking rugs.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting.
And these are like more modern, I guess. It's a more modern motif, not of like ancient origins, which
Now, let's talk about the next phase, though, because we've talked about at the very best what the best case scenario is with the story.
The best case scenario is it's pedophile shit.
It's pedophilia.
Right.
Now,
it is.
Now, let's kind of talk about a little bit about the worst case scenario, which is that's when you start getting into the incest factor, which is the allegedly go with me here, because
listen,
I
don't know if I understand this one fully. Okay, so I'll follow you, but I'm
going to say this out loud because I'm trying to follow it myself, because I'm like, what the fuck is going on? So allegedly, Brigitte marries this other dude, right?
Yes.
Has kids with this other dude.
3 kids, supposedly.
3 kids, right? Now, Macron is this is so fucking crazy. So I'm trying. Okay, so
you can do it. Come on, you got this.
Somehow
get serious. This is serious.
I know this is serious.
It is serious, but it sounds absurd to say out loud.
It does. Because when you start talking about it, you're like, how am I saying this? But okay, it ends up somehow that this dude actually is married to his own dad. So when you start going down the line, right, it's the idea that when he was a woman, when he when he was a dude, he married another woman named Veronique or something like that.
Veronique, in a private ceremony that no one was allowed in, that was officiated
Right.
by Brigitte.
Right. So he marries this other woman who has, I believe, 2 sons. And one of them, and we need to pull up the picture of the bro. Because that was fucked up.
Right. Are you talking about the one that's like an identical
Yeah.
person? This gets so murky. I don't, but I can find real quick.
Yeah, let's find that. So he has 2 sons. One is this dude that we're going to show you the picture of, and the other one is apparently Macron, Emmanuel. And so she raises these boys, and then later on, he transitions. This other guy transitions, and then goes on to build a life for himself, and then he ends up marrying his own son. So like he ends up he leads a life, or she leads a life that kind of brings her back full circle to the town where it all began. And then like becomes a teacher there, and then meets her own son, and then marries her own son. It's wild.
The woman who may or may not be Macron's actual mother, again, was involved with creating new names, documents, details about like people who are transgender. And also there is some kind of nebulous laws about like suing people there, where so like, say for example, I like decide tomorrow like I'm a man and I'm gonna name myself, I don't know what Larry. Lauren, all right, I'm Larry now, and so I officially go through Macron's mother, like at the French Social Security office, to change my name and get my documents changed. So if anyone calls me Lauren in the media and say, "Oh, she's by my dead name," that's no longer legally true. So they can go after them with like the full weight of the law. That's why a lot of this has been so like they're like libel and like slander like laws are very much there is no wiggle room. It just is. I forget, there's a term for that kind of law where it's just like it is what it is, and there's no like, you're not going to have a trial, you're not going to have a hearing. It's just, it is what it is, and you're going to get shut down immediately. So when they can use the full weight of the media, they can
so they can go
one of these women like turned up dead in a river who was like investigating this back in the I forget her name.
Yes. The other woman some other woman got cancer. I mean, the main guy, I mean, when he tells a story, that's why I say people should watch that. Because when he tells a story, I mean, he himself was basically driven out of France. These people came after anyone who was looking into the story for years. For years, these people were coming after people. It's kind of wild. Now, I really want to find this son.
I forget which episode it was in.
There has to be photos on Twitter somewhere. There it is. I found one. Here we go. So here is the other the brother. They look alike. I mean, they do look alike.
Like they've never like. Good Lord. Yeah.
And look, his name is what? Jean-Jacques.
Is one of the Jeans.
He's one of the Jeans. Jean-Jacques Trogneau, which is Brigitte's old name. She used to be known as Jean-Michel Trogneau. And so when she married the other woman, Veronique, so they obviously got their father's last name, Jean-Jacques Trogneau. And Emmanuel, I guess he took his last name from his what he claims now as his father. I mean, this is
It
some
gets
crazy
so
stuff.
murky. Again, I've watched
But then
episode 4 and 5 back a couple times, and I still don't quite grasp
because
it.
she goes into like the whole idea that it might be the uncle, not necessarily the father, and then the
Well, because they're all
uncle
named Jean,
because they all exactly, and she just
and they all have
basically
the same
talks about
face.
they all have they all have the same name, and I think this
Even
is
the
by
men and women
design.
have the same face, or the alleged women.
The alleged woman is true. They like there's definitely some similarities. And I think this is all by design because it's
Sure.
meant to confuse the public and to like this is like the age-old story of like what kind of like mob tactics, but these people are insanely like they're way more famous than the mob, so they can do a lot more mob tactics than even the mob. So and they will erase people who get too close. So this is just kind of like
Yeah.
it's very fucked up.
You'll end
That's
up
why
with
I'm
2
saying
gunshots to the back of the head, and they'll say you killed yourself, kind of thing. I mean, it's not
kind
funny,
of.
but it is. Like, I mean, well,
No,
that's
yeah.
happened a few times. Like, oh yeah, they just shot
Mm,
themselves in the back of the head twice. It's crazy.
God, I mean,
Yeah,
I really
right?
wish that we could cut down on that a pandemic. I mean,
Right?
the whatever.
An
So
epidemic.
the epidemic of people shooting themselves in the back of the head. Look, there's
Mhm.
also, I mean, I think this was kind of like what it was solidified for a lot of people that Brigitte was in fact Jean-Michel. Was when they found the photo from the army because he was supposedly like he had to go to the army service,
Mhm.
which by the way, apparently his file is still not open to public, even though it's supposed to be. People can't access the French military files of this individual. But the Xavier Poussard was finally able to track down a photo of Jean-Michel Trogneau, which was this photo, which when you put it up against Brigitte Macron, there's obviously a lot of similarities, including apparently they've done a lot of facial recognition matching with this Chinese software from the WFP, actually, like that, which is funny that the World Economic Forum is involved in this somehow with their facial recognition. So they put that up against that, and I think it's like a 99% match or something, 95, something crazy. It was like a 95, something in the 90s. Don't quote me because I don't remember what 90s. It was like something really high.
And any sort of deviations from that too. I mean, Brigitte has been like goes and gets like cosmetic surgery constantly. They actually gave like the Medal of the equivalent of the Medal of Freedom in France to a prominent surgeon who A specializes in transgender cosmetic surgery, and B is also her surgeon. Coincidentally enough.
That was also all exposed with that other woman, the Mimi woman that we were talking about, because when she got found out to have been working with that pedo, they ousted her from the palace. I know.
Everyone in their periphery is pedophiles.
Like
Brigitte
literally
is a pedophile, maybe incestual. It's again, it's like it's almost too much. It's too much to the point where you're like, I kind of just okay.
Yeah, I've talked to people who are
added thing of like, this is just something that I found out in a dig back in like 2023. Like there was like a whole stint where like Macron before he got into politics was like banking for like the Rothschilds, like the ones, not just like kind of like the wannabes like that are in like extended family. Like he was a banker for the like Rothschilds, and that was how he got his like he was named to a position by the previous like leader of France. And there's just so many aspects to it outside of the this part of it.
And this part is the part that's like the most like basically like kind of like conspiracy level stuff, which I love that this person just came and said it feels like I'm watching InfoWars here. That is a high compliment. I really appreciate this compliment. Wow, thank you.
It's murky, and it's murky at best.
It is. But what's not murky though is I do believe that Xavier Poussard did track down this individual And this is indeed, I really truly believe that this is indeed Jean-Michel
Considering how
Trogneau.
much he had to go through to get that
Yes.
image,
Yes.
yeah.
I think
When
from
you
all
get
the
into
stuff
like
that he went through.
I'm just using my own two eyeballs here. What kind of when you get into like the AI facial recognition, whatever, I'm like, oh, okay, but I don't trust them computers, all right? But I got two
Yeah,
eyeballs
you're
that
like,
can tell me, like I'm looking at them, and I can
mhm.
like,
Well, I mean, but that's the thing too, like, because even when you go back to that photo of the little boy, right? The little
right.
boy was also Jean-Michel.
Do
I
I have
believe
that
that. I
link?
think
That's what I thought you
that
were asking for. I
yeah,
think
this
I've
is
got it
I think
timestamped right here. It's on a
okay.
video, but it's timestamped on the picture. I think if that's who you're talking about.
Okay, let me see that one here. Yes. This one, this is Jean-Michel Trogneau.
Right.
Brigitte's
brother.
Brigitte's brother who became Brigitte's. This is such a
Who
weird story
married
because
the Veronique.
it
right?
becomes a story of identity theft more
Right.
than anything else. So this boy, and this is the photo that we showed you earlier tonight. I'm going to bring up that photo, the family photo again, because they say that Brigitte is the little sister. So if the little sister, and she could still possibly exist, but we don't know. That's the thing. Like they have not tracked this woman down. Like some people think she might be dead. This is the original photo. Well, the one without the thing. But this is the photo that he tracked down that we were able to kind of see for the first time. This is when Xavier saw Brigitte, this is his face. Like if you really look at his face,
and it's like the little baby is supposedly Brigitte, right?
Yes, and I mean that's not her. This is her. I mean, you can tell when you look at the little boy. You're like, oh god, that is definitely that. There's definitely some similarities there.
Can do with like playing the devil's advocate is like, my brother and I, if you look back at our baby photos, like we look very, very similar, but we're not identical. And obviously, as we got just like a tiny bit older, our faces changed into, he's a man and I'm not. But it's like there is kind of that, again, it's plausible deniability of like, okay, well, yeah, siblings look alike sometimes. Sometimes they're like spitting images of each other and they're born years apart and they're not the same gender, blah, blah, blah. But I mean, like, I'm sorry. I didn't use AI facial recognition, but I'm using my own two eyeballs.
But well, when you use your two eyeballs, doesn't this guy look more like Brigitte Macron than that little girl? It really does, right? Like it really does.
Yes.
And so like
it's the nose, like it's like this part for me.
It's the nose and the dimple. It's the smile. It's like the thing that the smile. There's just so many things like the forehead. I mean, this is his face that's grown up and just become a woman.
And then there's like just like anecdotally, like the fact that Brigitte is always wearing like an ascot or some sort of like handkerchief around the neck is kind of I mean, granted, you can have like you can have the Adam's apple removed, but I think that there's scarring there.
Why are they calling this person Christine Joaquin on this? But
that's who they claimed it was, I believe.
Oh, that's who they
again we're getting into like some murky water, and this is someone who I believe she died.
That's the thing. Like we don't know what exactly happened to the sister. Some people say she's dead. Some people say she's still alive. And then the chubby guy that they brought in was really interesting because they finally brought out this guy that they were like, no, this is Jean-Michel Trogneau. Like and Candace and Xavier call him the chubby man, and he's supposed to be this boy that's grown up.
Right.
But it's not, because you
Right.
can clearly tell. And then it gets really murky and it gets really weird because she goes through showing, because they were like, oh, here, because what happened was they responded to her legal questions because the Macrons tried to sue her, or not
Right.
sue her. They gave her like a kind
They're
of like
like,
a cease and desist.
Cut it
Like, you
out.
gotta stop talking about this. Exactly, like bad
Right.
girl. Like stop publishing the story.
Like one was like 2 or 3 pages, but the other one was like 100 pages they sent to her.
Yes.
Like it was crazy document.
So she goes through this, and one of the pictures that they showed was this big fat, like little troll dude, and like, and they called it, and this guy calls him the fat guy or whatever. And he's like, they're like, oh, this is Jean-Michel, and he's part of the family, and here's his photo
And they're like,
in the same frame as Brigitte Macron. And then so Candace goes and breaks down this video because they're like, fine, let's go and look at this video that is supposedly from the inauguration. Both inaugurations, this man's supposed to be present. They go and
Right.
break it down. They go on through every fucking frame. And this man is not standing with the family. He's supposed to be the brother to Brigitte Macron. And he's not standing with the family. Who he is standing with, though, is one of the Rothschilds, which again brings the Rothschilds into this, and the whole idea of why Macron himself was involved with the Rothschilds when he had no anything to do with banking, but somehow was plucked and, driven up the ranks to
Right.
become one of the most famous individuals to do with the Rothschilds. And the Rothschilds have this famous saying that, incest is best. So it is, again, this rabbit hole is really fucking weird and really fucking deep. And to a point you're just like, you do get left thinking, like, I don't know what to think.
right.
But I do know that I really do fully believe that Brigitte Macron is a man and did groom that child.
Yes.
She, whatever. I believe.
The actual identity, whether or not it's someone who is like related, I could not tell you I don't even really know what I think about it, and I'm I'm still trying to learn and whatnot about. I don't know what I think about that, but there is enough, again, that's concrete and known that it almost doesn't matter. It ultimately would be nice to know for sure, but it almost doesn't matter. Again, the little sneaky picture of like the pedophile book and his official portraits, the like random artwork they've put in, trying to replace religious iconography with penises. There's enough just disgusting behavior that's already there where getting lost in the weeds of what I still don't know what to think. I've tried really hard to understand.
I just saw this meme and I have to pull it up. I just had to pull this up because this is fucking funny. Like, your crush, his brother, his wife, his groomer, his father, you. Like, what the fuck is this meme? Like, holy shit. This is what this series is, though. Is you really think to yourself,
and if
what
you
the
talk
fuck?
to anybody who doesn't know, I was trying to explain to my mom like earlier because we were talking on the phone. I was like, well, I gotta go. I'm going on a show tonight, and she's like, oh, what are y'all gonna talk about? And I was telling her about this. She doesn't know anything about it, and so I tried to give her like the elevator pitch of it, and she like I know that she understands that I wouldn't just be saying these things if I didn't truly believe, at least at the very least, believe them to be true and have done my legwork on it. Because but my mom reads my stuff. She follows my Twitter. She's a sneaky little Anon account. But she's like, she's not aware of any of this because she's just out in the normal like real world, And so she was like, "What are you talking about?" So like, if you haven't seen anything about this, if you're not aware that Candace has been doing this series, if you're not even like slightly aware of it, to even encounter any of this, you're like, these people are batshit insane.
It really is.
And it's a lot easier to say these people are batshit insane than to delve through an 8-hour deep dive on, through Candace's show and through like 14 pages of French manuscripts that you have to translate. And then that woman, Natasha Ray, who put out her research, it's like 200 some odd pages of like really dense research. Like,
listen,
these are not easy to get through.
And that's one of the things that really fascinated me about this case. And I do believe in Xavier and his research. I believe the hero of this story is Xavier.
I do too.
And because I find him so fascinating. And if you guys don't know, this is who I'm talking about. This is Xavier. And he
just looks so damn French. Oh my god,
he does. He looks very French. But what's really interesting about this is, like, and we'll listen to this in a second. I just wanted you guys to get a picture of this guy. But what was really fascinating is that's why I say that people should watch, at the very least, watch her interview with him, because he is this story. This is his story. But how he got into this was that he was approached by very prominent journalists in France, women who wanted to do profile stories on this feminist icon, Brigitte Macron.
And they were coming at it from like a feminist angle. Like they wanted to celebrate
Yes.
her story. It was
Yes,
very
they-
like they were in her corner kind of thing.
Yeah, they wanted to celebrate this woman. And then once they started to do more research into her, they both hit like dead ends.
And I believe
brick
it was
walls.
they're like the palace they were like interrogated them. They're like, what are you doing this for? Like, why are you writing this sort of thing?
Correct.
And of course that sends up red flags. Like,
yeah, because they're like,
we
what the
want to
fuck?
celebrate our first lady.
Yeah, like she's like,
Is that not allowed?
what the hell? Because what happens is, so they start basically getting met with a lot of scrutiny about why they're questioning her past, and so they're just wondering, like, can we get some photos of her, like, you know, in college? Could we get some photos of her, you know, when she was a child, like that kind of thing? And they're met with basically nothing, and like don't ask, right? And so they start to, and so he gets involved because he starts to be like, what the hell? And he's an archivist. So people are like, well, can you can you
Can
access
you find
like,
records, right?
Exactly. Can you find anything? And can you look into this woman's past? And he's just like, oh, do I really want to get involved with this story? And the more he realizes that these women had actually done the legwork and are really have hit a dead wall, he starts getting intrigued and he starts going into it. Now he starts hitting a dead wall to a point where he finally meets an actual citizen journalist, a sleuth, if you will, in the town of Amiens, who was doing her own research. This is like way before like Twitter and like shit like that, guys. This is like
She put it like a dossier
years
together.
ago.
Right.
Yes, she put like a dossier together where like she was basically archiving this family's history, the Jean-Michel Trugnot's, the Trugnot family history. And it turns out that the Trugnot family were originally supposedly chocolatiers in this little town in north of France, and they're like, this big family, and all they want to is it's kind of like the fucking Willy Wonka story. They're like,
it's a very like fairy tale kind of background story for them.
It really is.
It makes for great, like, glossy little, chocolatier family now in the palace kind of.
Totally. It's like fucking Willy Wonka, and people are going missing. Like, it really is. Right. You're like, what the fuck is going on? Why are
and
these
there's a woman dead in the river over it?
Yeah. Like, what the hell? Like, all these family people are like either missing or they don't like where they go. I mean, this is why at the very least he believes that this is an identity theft story, that Jean-Michel took the identity of his sister, and then for whatever reason, and we still don't know if the sister is alive or not, but he believes that he did do some type of identity theft, which is really fucking weird.
When their relationship began, was it like late 80s, early 90s? Yes, like that sort of thing used to be more of a thing. So I guess it began in essentially a different world where you could get away with assuming the identity of someone. You could get away with having a second family in Canada because people didn't know what I mean? People couldn't talk about things as much. And that's not a thing anymore at all. I mean, I guess it is probably somewhere, but it's not like that. Those sort of things don't happen, I'm sure, nearly as often because, again,
not in this age. And I think that's why this is coming out now, because
the internet.
Exactly. You can't really hide this kind of stuff anymore, or at least, people are going to talk about it at some point. And basically, at the end of that story, he meets this woman, he goes to this town, and that's when he finally gets that family photo. He gets it from her, and from there, it kind of just
unraveling.
It just unraveled for him. But that's why I say, like, definitely support this guy. If anything, watch that interview and buy his book. I mean, he's got a book coming out. I don't know. I don't think it
is, but it's coming soon. I'm gonna buy it.
I'm gonna definitely buy it because I want to support him, and
Mhm.
I believe that he's done a lot of great
He's
work,
like living in
and
exile too.
he's living in exile for this story.
Mm.
And I think that I think some people are gonna make a movie about this someday. He says it himself. He's like, people are gonna make a movie about this someday because this is the story is fucking insane.
Mm.
And he believes that once Macron is gone, like whether he finishes his term or he's ousted or whatever. I don't think he's gonna get ousted personally. I think he's just gonna finish his term. I don't think Brigitte is going to jail. I don't think anything happened to these people because at the end of this year, the statute is up anyways for like the statutory rape situation.
Mhm.
So I don't think that that's gonna happen. But
Oh yeah, that thing.
but he believes that once Macron is gone, that this story is even gonna explode even more because people will be free to talk. People who have information will be able to talk more freely. Now, I don't know if that could be the case, or it could be the case of Clinton's. Like, that
I mean,
it's
it
just,
could be like another. I mean, we're still, I'm frustrated with these people. Like Pam Bondi ran her mouth about declassifying Epstein documents, like rather than just doing it. And then supposedly a lot of documents are now like they're trying to like disgruntled employees are like deleting and erasing and trying to like just.
well,
because
I'll tell you this, and
I don't
maintain
know what to
this.
think about all that.
I'll tell you this about what I believe.
Mm.
That list is never going to come out. I believe there's way too many powerful people, including donors of the current party, that are going to be on that list.
So
I
be
do not
it.
believe that. I don't believe that they'll ever release that list. I just don't. If I do, like, I will eat my words. I will be happy to. I would love for that
Right.
list to get released, but I just I will. I promise you that
Why
list
would
is
it's
never
why
coming
would
out.
you just have to think about like human behavior though. Like if it's like anytime someone like makes an announcement, they're like, oh, on so and so date at so and so time, I'm gonna expose blah blah blah. It's like if you actually had something like a big story, something that you were like scared for like your safety, like you would just put it out there without announcing it first because you put a target on your back the moment you announce it without like putting it out into the ether.
Mhm.
And so like I know that there's a at least with this like administration, there's obviously like a focus on like they understand that showmanship is important and like
Yeah.
making people like it's like it's a game show like almost but like
Mhm.
that is such I don't know what to think about it, but it's very frustrating. So I feel like it could become another one of those sort of things for France, just of like
Mhm.
it'll maybe keep getting pushed. I don't know what their sort of bureaucracy looks like with that, but it seems like it's pretty if they decide something's going to be locked down, it's going to stay locked down. So I don't
Yeah.
know.
Let's watch this little clip of
Sure.
Xavier so people can hear. Well, it's not really his voice because it's up. It's like
Right.
a translator,
He's
but
more
at least you
French.
can kind of see how he
Of
talks.
procedures, they finally gave us a photo. It's Jean-Michel Trogneau at 18 years old. There's no room for doubt. We have the directory, we have the list which certifies that it is indeed the same individual. And so there we see Jean-Michel Trogneau, and when we compare him, it's very striking since we actually see distinctive signs which aren't misleading, notably below the mouth and this thing here, which looks like a mole or a pimple. To sum things up, when you are able to control the media, when you're able to dictate the media and have them go your way, one could create from this picture a sort of Claudia Schiffer pinup who met Emmanuel Macron when he was 14. I believe in the future, producers and film executives will have a field day recreating this interesting story. Of procedures, they finally
It's
gave us a
true. I
photo.
think they will
But
as well.
I feel like they turned it into like a reverse Lolita situation. Like the story of Lolita is horrifying, but there are people who think it's like an erotic story. Like
I know that is so weird. Like it's
Ugh.
always that story's always been very weird to me, and everyone's like,
it's
like,
horrifying.
ooh. Like when you really start to like look into that stuff, you're like, oh man, this is it. This is like actually, I just saw. Funny enough, I just saw this image of because remember how I told you like Emily in Paris, Brigitte Macron was on it. There's a photo of them just hanging out.
Like when you see that bone structure next to actual women, like it becomes more jarring. I mean, I'm serious. Like there are some people who like I guess that like quote unquote pass a bit if they're standing by themselves or amongst
Like,
other
they're
transgenders
passable?
who like don't
Yeah.
pass. And so it's like,
Yeah.
well, yeah, like you look pretty good by comparison. But like when you put like a man's bone structure next to a woman's bone structure, it becomes exceedingly apparent. And I'm
Mhm.
sorry, like
Mhm.
in that god awful wig, Jesus.
Oh my God. There's so much stuff. What else have we not talked about with this
Plenty, but
show?
it's so much.
There's so much. But what else? Like, what was like some other major things we haven't talked about? Because we talked about the incest, which is like the weirdest part. We talked about the story, like how the story began.
Began what like the
They're still denying the French the press is still denying any of this is true.
yes,
They're
of course.
still saying that Jean-Michel is that fat dude, which I should probably find a photo
fat
of.
man.
But
You're
the
right.
fat man. You know what? We can probably watch that little bit about
Sure.
where she talks about the fat dude and how they brought him, from the thing. They're like, oh, this is the guy. He was at the inauguration.
Oh, apparently Bondi said something tomorrow. We'll see.
Who said what?
Something about the Epstein part. Some of the names being released tomorrow. We'll see. There is
We'll
a
find out.
devil's avocado that you could play, saying essentially that since Ghislaine Maxwell is still in prison, like that they don't want to compromise like some ongoing whatever. But like, whatever, I don't care.
Okay, so I found this.
Listen,
This is from the epilogue.
Yes,
This is from the epilogue of. So this is like basically one of the this is the final episode. But
it wrapped like 2 weeks ago.
yeah,
Or a week ago, something like that.
So here is the fact.
You were raised to the challenge and look through this. Maybe there is this familial vibe we can pick up on. First thing that I should note is that in both of these inaugurations, the Jean-Michel is not standing with the family for Macron's speeches, okay? Not at either inauguration. In the 2017 inauguration, here's a still. He is standing with a bunch of priests.
So this is the guy that they said Jean-Michel is, okay? And now he's also apparently what is he supposed to be? He's supposed to be like the brother-in-law to Brigitte Macron. And supposedly, oh wait, no, that was another guy, because I was thinking about the uncle guy that was supposedly his godfather. That's
Uncle
not this
Touchy
guy.
or whatever.
Yeah, Uncle Touchy. His godfather, that's a whole other story, but that's when they're thinking that the incest might go to the uncle, not necessarily Brigitte being the dad. But anyway, sorry, this is
it's very Game of Thrones, honestly.
It really is. It's all very Game of Thrones. But we'll keep listening to this right now. Yeah, so much worse.
Okay. And when you watch the footage,
I love every time
family is all walking.
Every time Candace goes like, okay.
I know. I love that.
I love it. It's like, okay. It's so funny to me.
I'm telling you this. Okay.
She's so sassy. I love it.
I love that too. It's a very it's a very Candace
over in spite of like again having some kind of like because every time she's like, okay. It's so
she's been winning me over too.
Yeah.
I'm still very
I'm wary of
like
her,
I said,
of her
cautious.
But man, is she funny.
But she's great. She's also been doing really good work with the whole Blake and Lively thing. So I'm just in for the ride at this point.
That could have happened for her, honestly.
I agree.
She didn't have to play into her caricature so much and can actually be herself. And herself is pretty funny.
Did you hear the next thing she's doing is like fucking Harvey Weinstein series? That's gonna be fucking amazing, dude. Like holy shit, she's sticking her foot in.
Careful.
She is gonna be careful. She's like, but I'm all for it. Like I got my popcorn. I'm gonna watch Candace fucking burn this shit down. It's gonna be great.
Yeah.
But okay, let's keep going with this.
Yeah.
Little fat man.
Okay, and I loved it.
Okay, this is supposed to be Fatterson. That's supposed to be like
okay.
Fucking. This is supposed to be Fatty McFatterson, the
That-
person who's supposed to be Brigitte. Oh wait, the
the person
who's
with that
supposed to
very
be
specific bone structure that's identical to hers.
Jean-Michel. He's supposed to be
Mhm.
Jean-Michel. They found this Jean-Michel, even though there's like 100 Jean-Michels in that fucking city. They were like, here's Jean-Michel Trogneau. This is the one that you've been looking for.
He looks like a frog.
He does look like a frog. Raider, what's up, bro? Thank you so
up,
much
Raider?
for just swinging by to just drop a 54.93. Thank you so much. Good to see you, my man.
Highly
Thank you very
specific,
much
10 out
for
of
this
10.
donation. I think he does the
Okay.
he takes the 30%. He does like a 30% thing because he knows that YouTube takes the 30% from us. So he does like these weird numbers to give you
That's
the
very
actual
thoughtful.
full. Yeah, he's very thoughtful. Amazing. And I mean, he's not even saying anything. Like, he's not even being like, guys, you need to chill the fuck out on this conspiracy theory shit. Like, shut the fuck up. Okay.
I mean, in fact, okay. I feel like, in fact, that's an encouragement to keep going, get
I
weirder.
know. Whenever people are like, God, you're such a conspiracy theorist. I'm like, really?
Then
Thanks."
leave.
Like,
If you don't like it, you can go.
well, people were like when that guy was like, I feel like I'm listening to InfoWars. I was like, really? Like, that's amazing. Thanks. Alex Jones is my hero. No, I'm just joking.
Yeah.
But here we go.
Walking together as they go down the line and say hi to people. And Laurent, that would be Brigitte's quote unquote daughter, speaks to him very briefly. They're all saying hi. It's like you got to kind of walk through and say hi. The family is walking down, and he's greeted 2 kisses on the cheek by Emmanuel Macron, but he's not standing with his family. Maybe he showed up late, right? Maybe he just showed up too late.
That's weird. These are the weird little details that comes out when you like actually do some sleuthing, and then you're like, well, this is weird. Like, why wouldn't you just
physical behavior? It's very
look?
weird.
The very basic thing about this is like, if the French government actually cared about debunking this story, they'd be like, here's a birth certificate. Here's this guy's picture. Here's this fucking person's this. Here's this thing. You know what I'm saying? It's not really that hard to provide the proof that she's asking for. She's asking very basic questions. And they could have just been like, here's his birth certificate. Here's this thing. Here's this. But instead, we get a bunch of fucking like, well, here is the Jean-Michel you're talking about.
Right.
Except,
and
you
it's
know,
like they've chosen to engage with it. You know, if they just weren't responding at all and just ignoring it, it'd be one thing. But they have chosen specifically to respond to Candace and to this ongoing thing with proof, but it's shitty proof. Like, so they either
really
needed to
bad
ignore
proof.
it altogether or like actually bring something that's worth looking at, because none of this ain't it.
This is why we're gonna watch this, because their proof raises more questions. Like, why is this motherfucker standing with like David Rothschild? Like, we're gonna get there.
Got ushered in. Okay, fine.
Okay.
That can't happen twice, right?
Okay.
Something that's also interesting is that Jean-Claude, his alleged big brother, who he wasn't standing with or anything, was also present on this inauguration day. And yet Jean-Claude, at the luncheon which followed this speech, was seated at a table with his siblings. Jean-Claude was seated with Brigitte. Here is a photo of that luncheon. Okay. Not Jean-Michel, not the person they allege is Jean-Michel. For whatever reason, he was not seated with his siblings. Now, that's in French. The bottom, it says...
To be fair, we don't know who's sitting here. Like, this photo is cut out. But I do believe... I think that's a woman.
There's probably other angles, though. It's probably like... There's probably like Getty.
Right.
It looks like Best Image. It's probably like a subsidiary of Getty. I assume.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But I'm just saying, to play devil's advocate, we don't know who's sitting over here, so maybe there's other.
I do that
angles of
constantly to try to keep myself in check, especially if it's like getting like off into the quote unquote deep end.
Exactly.
It's like, all right, like there's got to be like, if there is an explanation, I at least want to consider it.
Exactly.
This was published, by the way, in 2023. Interestingly enough, in Paris Match, and they were speaking about the Trogneau family. And they declined to mention that Jean-Michel, as they're telling us now, was at this inauguration, not sitting down at this table with his relatives, not sitting down with his brother, not sitting down with Brigitte. And what it says down there is at the table of Brigitte, her brother, Jean-Claude, and loved ones. Okay, Interesting. Maybe
Okay.
he needed some fresh air.
She's
Who
such
knows?
a valley
Maybe he
girl.
didn't want to sit there.
Okay.
Maybe they've got a strange relationship. But let me tell you, it's going to get even stranger at the 2022 inauguration, because scrubbing through the footage, I once again recognize that Jean-Michel is not standing anywhere near the family for the speech.
That's
Was he
weird,
late
man.
again? I don't know, my friends. I'm going to show you this because even more awkward is the fact that when Emmanuel finishes his speech and does the walk, he goes over to the family section. Here he is. And he makes a concerted effort to kiss and hug everyone alongside Brigitte. You'll see Brigitte just a pace behind him, intentionally pausing to kiss and hug all the family members. You can see them. They start leaning in. They come out. Look at, mwah, love you. Oh, let's take our time here. Tefan looking so proud. Now he's not walking with anyone but Brigitte. I'm not exactly sure who that guy is, but what we're seeing here are nephews, cousins. We're able to confirm who all of these people are. This
These
is
are the
clearly
family
the
people.
family section. And once again, I want to be clear. It's both sides of the family that are standing in this section. It's not just the Macrons. It is also obviously Brigitte's family. And you're going to see that. I'm just going to let this play because it's important for you to recognize the differences here. This, by the way, in case you want to look this up yourself, is at the 43-minute mark of the inauguration. He starts going through his family. Now you're seeing Laurent, another child of Brigitte, okay, kissing her kids. And now behind you have who is supposed to be his mother, biological mother, Dr. Frances Nogue, who spends her time helping transgendered individuals get new IDs. This is the family
Look.
section, okay? There is no question.
Okay.
The person they allege is Jean-Michel, for whatever reason, once again, does not want to stand with his family.
Why?
Okay. You fast forward. So that, again, is the 43-minute mark. Then you have to fast forward all the way up to the 51-minute mark to see him finally approaching Jean-Michel. And a couple of things I'm going to point out to you. Now, this is the screenshot where the legal team had the audacity to say, in the same frame, he's in the same photo as his sister Brigitte. What they left out was that Brigitte completely ignores him. I mean, completely does not say a word to the individual that is supposed to be her brother. Let's watch this together and watch how awkward Emmanuel Macron is with this individual.
This is wild, man.
So you are seeing this, if you're on audio, that's her brother. That's supposed to be Jean-Michel.
This is supposed to be Jean-Michel.
They won't answer that for sure, but that's supposed to be who they're trying to make us believe is her brother. Nothing said. Emmanuel,
They barely
Brigitte just
looked at each
completely,
other.
oh, there's the frame where they're trying to like, oh, she's right there with her brother. Says not a word. Okay, you can go back and watch this. I did not make this up. Look, it just walks right by. Who would?
It's like as if they're strangers. Like this, she literally ignored him.
And if for
like,
some
the
reason they
entire
are,
thing.
if for some reason that was him and they are estranged, like why would he even be there then?
Right? Like
there'd
why
be no
would he be
point
there?
in him being
Why
there.
would he be there? It would make
Estranged
no
family
sense.
happens all the time. They typically don't interact, believe it or not.
No, they
And they don't
certainly
show up at the same events either.
Yeah, they certainly don't get invited to like the inauguration because
Yeah.
people would be like, we like you want to have close family or like not estranged people that could possibly lead to some type of
Like
let's look
public-
into why are they estranged like like
Right.
you don't want to have that kind of drama at your fucking inauguration.
Right.
You invite people you want there.
Right.
Let's keep going.
It's so nice of Candace to collaborate with us on this podcast. So
I
nice.
know, she's so brave.
She's right there with her brother. Says not a word. Okay, you can go back and watch this. I did not make this up. Look, it just walks right by. Who would do this to their brother on inauguration day? Emmanuel Macron. Now, I feel like if I was in the presence of my brother-in-law, I'd like feel like I must go up to him first, right? I better go up to him first. And then Emmanuel's like, oh, okay, I have to say something a little friendly, goodbye, and that's
So
it.
weird.
Okay, now let's pause.
A little high, like a little.
I
hey.
think it's got to be a guy back from like the banker days,
It seems like it.
especially
really does
considering the
seem like
people
it,
he cohorts
considering-
with, right?
Exactly. Considering
That
what
frame.
He
she's
looks like
doing.
someone who's a banker.
Who's in this frame?
Who's he standing with? Let's back up a little bit if you can, Mark.
Does that mean
See that guy in the background? You want to know who he's standing with?
Uh-oh.
David Rothschild.
Oh,
Uh-oh. Busted. My goodness. So yeah, I think you're right. I think they're like, from their banker
they're the
days.
financiers. I mean, the bankers are never too far away. Let's be honest. They're always there, lurking.
They are always
They're just
lurking.
they're a little bit more overt about it, I think, over in Europe because they have such a, especially in EU countries, there's like 27 of the member countries of the EU. Like, there's really almost no recourse for behaving this way openly. Because like you can't even call like a politician fat online in Germany without going to jail. So
That's true. Or in the UK at this point, like shit, you can't even meme anymore over there. Like it's pretty fucking bad.
So
let me get some of these super chats real quick.
Harry
we got a whole bunch from Russell Hall. Thank you, Russell, for the $5. Says, so do we pass on people who just forgot to turn their camera off before watching Japanese tentacle cartoons? I'm on the fence.
See,
yes.
That's not even the most absurd thing that's been said here tonight.
I know. Like that's he's stuck on there. Then for 2, he says the circular maze looks like a digestive tract. That's true. It kind of did look like that. Then for 2, Macron seems to really like shirtless black dudes. This is true.
And that's a running theme again. Like he's like Ed Buck and Byron. He's that Florida guy, Gillum.
Ooh. That guy.
Remember the guy was like passed out and like barfing in a motel room right after he ran for governor against DeSantis. Everyone forgets about these things.
Yeah, I remember now. Like it's coming back to me.
Right?
It's coming back to me. Thank you for the 2. Russell says the frogs are definitely gay. This is true.
SMH.
I mean, definitely, I feel like he's definitely been vindicated over the frogs are they're turning the frogs gay. I feel like he's been vindicated on that. Russell for 2 says, why is Anna in black and white photo next to Jean Trogneau? Wait, you mean that Star Wars girl? Are we talking about Anna, our dear beloved Anna? Let's pull up.
I don't see the resemblance.
Are you talking about are we talking about the family photo, Russell? Is that what we're talking about? Because I guess we are, because this is the black and white photo. He's saying, why is Anna in the black and white photo next to Jean Trogneau? So, I mean, which Jean Trogneau? Because this guy is Jean Trogneau. This guy is Jean Trogneau. Which Jean Trogneau are we talking about?
There's 3 of them in this photo.
3 Jean Trogneaus in this fucking photo.
The little girl with the bowl cut.
Maybe, but the little, maybe. Are you talking? Oh my god, are you talking about the little baby? Like, is that Anna?
Wait, there's 2 bowl cuts going on here. Hang on. There's the girl with the fucked up hand, and then there's the baby.
That's true.
Which bowl cut?
Which bowl cut? Which Jean Trogneau? I mean, this is
it's complicated.
It's a mess. This is what we're talking about. This is what I'm talking about. This rabbit hole goes deep because you can't even find similarities.
Anna had a fucked up baby cut. Oh, did she? Oh, I don't know.
That's true. I remember that. So it is the baby in the front. So like they're talking about the baby. That's true. She did have that really god awful haircut that her mom did to her. I just remember that.
Poor
That's
girl.
Right. That's right. You poor girl, Anna. I don't know if you're watching, but thinking of you. Poor you, poor Anna. Well, I feel like this is pretty good. I think we covered it. There's once again, I think to close this out, I'm just gonna say, buy the guy's book if you're interested in this story. Buy the guy's book. Support Xavier, and then or at the very least, watch that episode with the interview with him where he tells the story of how he even got involved. He's a fascinating person. I actually would like to read a book about him, like his life.
Fates and Documents, the organization that he initially wrote it for, they like parted ways because they said he was obsessed with this story, and they said like they were like, this doesn't need to become like the Brigitte Macron, magazine or whatever, trying to investigate this. So they parted ways with him. So because I saw where there was like a box set of the original, and I was like, yeah, I'll buy it. It was like $50. Like I would like to have a physical copy of it. But then I found out about like the falling out, so I pirated it instead. So, yeah.
Anna's also obsessed with those one-eye paintings. I know. She's really, like, into, like, the occult, isn't she?
Anna.
She did my eye, though. Dude, my eye looked good. She painted my eye.
Well, okay, but we all drew, like, I'm sorry, if you were a girl growing up, which we were, I don't know about Brigitte, but like every girl growing up always knows how to draw one eyeball because we all drew like one eyeball on everything.
True.
And
I
the
was
other eyeball,
obsessed
you
with
try to
drawing
draw
eyes.
it and it wouldn't match.
Oh
a
my
rite of
god, girl,
passage.
yes!
You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I do know what you're talking about, girl.
That's-
Yes, it's so true.
If you go back,
That's such a
if you go
girl
back to like
thing.
all my childhood doodles, you would think I was like, you know, into the occult, but I just couldn't draw the matching eyeball. They would always be lopsided, so I could draw the one.
I think that's one of the reasons she started doing it because she says the reason she started doing it is because
Like a holdover
well
from
she's an
childhood.
artist, but she says if you do something, they say if you do something 200 times that you'll become basically
A master.
at it, and so she's doing that. That's why one of the reasons she's doing that. Russell seems to think there's nefarious reasons going on behind these eyes that she's painting. Russell, did you send yours in? I would like to know if she's actually painted your eye. Because that would be interesting.
That is truly something that girls do growing up that maybe is like a holdover from that. I'll play the devil's avocado one more time on that.
I like how you say the devil's avocado. I like avocados.
I don't know. I will beat a I'll beat a joke right into the ground, even if it's not even funny. If I think it's somewhat funny, I'll say it.
I think I'm gonna like steal that from you.
Please do.
So.
I think I probably stole it from someone at some point. So
I'm here because of Elle. No regrets. Amazing. I love it.
Appreciate you coming.
Devil's avocado is from Mexico. This is true. I live in Mexico. That's why I'm like, I really like this. I'm digging this devil's avocado thing. So I'm down.
Who's
down
gonna
for
pick
this.
your avocados? Donald Trump.
Russell for 2 says I sent my brown eye. She wasn't pleased. Russell.
Tisk tisk.
Wow. That is just unbelievable. Actually, that's not unbelievable at all. That is so something you would do. Why do I think that's unbelievable? That's just totally something you would do. And so therefore I'm going to give you this.
Stop it. Get some help.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay now, like all the time. I've been watching too much Candace recently because I've been watching the Blake Lively thing too.
Okay.
Okay.
Seconds.
Like
it's so good.
Got some news for you. Okay. Like,
I do that though. I'll pick up a mannerism from someone and then like make it my personality for like a week. So
it happens. It happens to the best of us.
Like that.
So everybody, okay. I'm so glad you were here tonight for the return of Breaking the Narrative for the 99th show. I think that was really cool to have you on, Elle. I want you to come back. And in fact, you were definitely invited to come back to this channel anytime. And I want you to come on Toxic Fam, but you have to do the homework. Like you have to go and deep dive into this Blake Lively story.
I got a lot of catching up to do.
But so
it was honestly after the Jenny Slate thing the other day about like her boss like offering to like pay for her $15,000 deposit and then like talking about how it's like important to take care of mothers because mothers are like a big, and she was like, I'm uncomfortable and like filed a complaint. I'm like, what kind of like evil psycho bitch do you have to be?
This is nuts. Now I will tell you this. I have done some of the archiving work. So I actually have a timeline video on my channel about the Blake Lively situation.
Okay.
So
I need to catch up.
Yeah, so watch that video. It'll help you out at least kind of like get a feel about when this started. I did it up to like February though, and so much stuff has already like, come out since then.
Right.
So I have to do another updated video, but I figured I'd do a timeline video just generally speaking, because I think like it's going to be important to keep track of how things happen and when they happened, moving forward, especially if this is another Amber Heard story, which I think it is. So it's really good that, you kind of go through that timeline. So you can check out my timeline video on it. Maybe
I will. I gotta learn stuff about this one before it's too late though, because to be quite honest, I tend to ignore like the like super like shiny day to day. Probably until it's too late. But I've ignored this one for too long, and I want to know more because it's important. It has the potential to bring down like a very like powerful core group of like women who are, you know, they're idolized and very like, and just like that they're using some crazy tactics to
There's some crazy
manipulate
shit
the
going
media.
on, and actually there's a lot of like kind of the same tactics going on as what
Yeah.
happened with the Brigitte Macron story. For example, like when Candace was talking about the whole Mimi situation with that like lady with the French press, we have like in the Blake Lively story, there's people like her. For example, this woman that's called Tree, that's like, you know, Taylor Swift's like PR person, and how like she spins stories for Taylor Swift. So there's like very similar archetypes involved in each of these stories because they're fucking rich elitist bastards that think they own the fucking world, and we're just all their playthings.
There's a formula. Why would you mess with it if it works? You know?
Exactly. And we got a Rumble rant here from TZ Burton. Let me share that screen. Hang on.
Oh, I know TZ.
So do I. What's up, TZ? Hang on. Here we go. It was glitched. TZ says, "Hi, Elle. It's Tuesday in it. Welcome to Nina's show. I usually watch your show on replay." Oh, TZ, you're the best. Thank you for the support and the Rumble rant.
Yeah,
you were so kind.
Thanks for coming. I'm really stoked to like get some one-on-one time with you. You know, I tend to like, I love doing Simpcast, but sometimes I feel like people think I'm like being a bitch or standoffish, and I'm just listening because it's fun.
Well, you're just some bitch they know.
Well, it's
so
true. Yeah, but like, okay, this is my deep dark secret. This is actually truly, if everyone finds out, it's gonna be over. But like, I'm actually like I actually have like pretty sensitive feelings, and like I don't actually like, I'm not actually really all that bitchy. I can be. So like, I care about like, you know, especially people that, you know,
I think people who care about the truth sometimes come off as bitchy because we're like
I'm not
like
a
same
bitch
with
to my
Candace.
friends, though.
Like kind of like it's kind of like Candace, right?
Right.
Like she seems like a bitch.
Well, she definitely
because she's
played
like
into a caricature for like the Daily Wire. Like they wanted those like soundbite kind of things.
Right.
And she seems to have steered away from that quite a bit, which I appreciate.
Elle has a great intro to her show. I'm gonna have to watch that. I don't think I've watched one of your shows. Do you do a show on YouTube, or is it just Rumble?
No, I got kicked off YouTube.
Oh, that's what it is. Okay.
I do Rumble, Odyssey, Twix, and Foxhole, which is just like my friends created, which it's a great little site. So I do 4, but like some of the chats are a little bit, it's like a little bit slower, and I have them all combined into one. So
you call it Twix too? I call it Twix.
So I saw someone post it. I was like, oh, I thought I've called it like Twitter Twix for the longest time because I'm like, I think X is a stupid name. I think X is stupid.
Too. So do I.
Oh my god! See, that's how
I'm starting to come around to it just because it's like just shorter to type. That's the only reason I'm like, I don't feel like writing.
I can appreciate wanting, like, I understand why he renamed it. I really do. Like, it's his now. It's not yours. I do. No, if I bought some shit from like these evil people, like, and they're like, I don't want any of their branding on it anymore. I don't want any of their like old, like, in them to claim that like, oh, it's because we did that or whatever. It's like, no, this is mine now. I'm renaming it. Whatever. I get why he did it. I just think the name X is stupid.
I'm with you on the rebrand. I also think the name X is stupid, but then again, he names his kid the weirdest shit I've ever fucking heard.
Well,
so of course
he had a financial service that he named X back in like, it's weird. I'm not a huge Elon fan, but I can appreciate what he's doing right now, I guess.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat with you there because I'm definitely against transhumanism and all that. But that's a whole different show. That's a whole different story. I want to
we'll have another one soon. Yeah.
Yeah, we definitely have to. Maybe we'll do an Elon show next.
I got the dives on that. He's like, there's some. We'll talk about. His mom is interesting to me. If you haven't looked into his May Musk is an interesting lady.
Dude, I just found out like literally yesterday that he's a Canadian citizen. I had no fucking idea. And I was like, wait, what? Like, because apparently Canada wants to like revoke his citizenship now or something because of all the stuff that's going on. And I was like, wait, how is he Canadian? And it turns out that like Mae Musk is Canadian. I didn't know. And then his father was South African. She had him with.
They'll hand out citizenship to anyone, though.
Apparently, this is true.
Well, they changed the law there too. Where like, so say you and like your husband are Canadian citizens, but you live outside of Canada, and like you live in a different country, and you have a child over there. Your children will be given Canadian citizenship still, which is like. Okay.
Ooh, I didn't know that.
But then if your children never like if they continue living outside of Canada and once they have children, if they will also be given, you can have like chain citizenship and never step foot in the country or live there ever. That's like a new thing that they've done. It's insane. It's the end of the country, to be quite honest.
That's
we
wild.
We gotta fortify the northern border now.
That is so fucking crazy. But yes, you know what? I will plug this definitely because you guys have been watching this crazy ass show tonight and it's been really dark. And we've been talking about, pedophilia and incest and all sorts of shit that I really hate talking about. I actually do really hate talking about this kind of stuff.
It weighs on you.
It really does. So if you need a cleanser, if you need a palate cleanse, join me this Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern for Infinite Hope, where I kind of, try and white pill everybody and remind everyone that there's still also good things going on in the world. There's still, good humans, cute animals, things like that. So come and hang out with me on Friday. And Elle, thank you so much for being here tonight. Please plug your channel, your wares, whatever it is that you want to plug. Go for it.
Some bitch I know on Twitter, and you can find everything from there. I don't know. Big Dig Energy is the show on Rumble.
Oh,
find it or don't. Like if you want to find it, you'll find me, and if you don't, then that's fine too.
I did put her link.
I get it. I
did put both her links for her Rumble channel and her Twitter is in the description. So you at least have two avenues.
Bitch I know on Twitter because I've been banned like 30 times. So
correct. And the links are both in the description. And Darren is dropping them right now. So make sure you go and follow her there. And you know what, Russell? I can't usually say this on Fridays. Because I don't want to alienate anybody and I don't want, swear on that show. I really try to keep it PG. But you know what? Fuck you, bro, for trying to ruin my show every Friday. You come in there and try and be a fucking dick. And here's my chance to tell you to go fuck yourself. Because honestly, sometimes
you gonna take that, Russell?
It really fucking weighs on you sometimes. I'm trying to do a fucking service over here, and he's fucking Russell being a fucking dick all the time.
Russell,
so
you gonna take that sitting down? Bud. I don't know. Sorry, I'm an instigator. All right.
No, it's all good. It he really riles me up sometimes. And I try to keep like a nice face going for that show. And I don't say anything.
No, that's not the right link to Twitter. It's got 2 eyes between bitch and no. Here, hang on, I got you. Hang on. That was my no, it's okay. Though that was my original account. I exposed a pattern of systemic voter fraud back in 2020, and I lost my account like the next day. There you go. There it is. If you want.
Oh no.
You don't gotta.
Where is it?
I just dropped it in the chat.
Oh, you just dropped it.
It's some bitch I know.
Right. Okay, here it is.
Aye.
Here you go. TZ Burton, thanks for the 2. Says Elle will teach you how to deep dive topics. Ooh, I like it.
I mean, there's people that are better at it, but I'm very stubborn. So
Russell says it's gonna be a fun Friday, bro. I will just time you the fuck out. You want to come in the house. You want to come piss all over the house. You're gonna get time the fuck out. I'm gonna tell you right now. I ain't got no patience anymore for your bullshit.
Get him. Tell him.
It's all good. I mean, you want to come at me, you can come at me. But this is the show. I tell you, come on this show. You can come on the Wednesday show and fucking talk shit. But on the Friday show, I triple dog dare you, Russell. I triple dog dare you to come give me some shit on Friday. So here we go.
When's Friday? Tomorrow? No, tomorrow's Thursday. I don't know what day of the
TZ,
week it is. It's been a weird week.
like, what
My
did
like kitchen ceiling caved in over the weekend. Not really, but there was a burst pipe.
Russell
It's been
plus
dramatic.
200 watt studio on Friday. Look, TZ, at least 200 watt studios pays me compliments once in a while. Like, Russell never gives me even compliments. I just have to keep taking shit, and I'm like, okay, that's it. I'm over it. That's it. We're done. Okay. Al,
Yes,
sorry
ma'am.
about
Sorry,
that.
no, I'm reading Twitter. I'm sorry. I have the
No. I'm sorry about like the derail to
No,
tell Russell off.
I derail my own show all the time. Like, no, that's how my brain works. You're fine. You
This
don't
was
have
a
to
fun
apologize
show.
for being a person.
This
all
was a
good.
fun show.
No, I had a blast. Thanks for having me on. But I am about to pee my pants, so I'm gonna go pretty soon.
Okay.
I'm
We
gonna
love
have
you.
to, I'm gonna have to scoot.
We're seriously gonna end this now. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you,
Go get it.
everyone. Love to you all. Special thanks to those of you who super chatted and all the good stuff. Thank you very much for supporting the channel. We'll see you next time. Bye.